These are my UFC Baku full fight card predictions from bottom to top through the entire card. Going to go through every single fight, let you guys know who I think is going to win in every single fight, why I think they're going to win. This is probably the most difficult card I've had to predict since starting doing this. I don't know why there are so many. There's just a lot of difficulties in these, and you could kind of see what I'm talking about. And if you can, I mean, I'll try to explain it my best. But we're going to go through the whole card. I'm going to let you guys know why it's a little bit difficult. It's a weird card for whatever reason to go through and try to predict some of these winners, because I really do not get what I'm looking at here. Hamza Abdul-Wahab versus Mo Usman. What about this fight makes it seem such an interesting and easy fight to predict? Not interesting. Well, interesting, kind of interesting, because Hamza is, you know, he sucks. Mo Usman sucks. They both suck. But Hamza throws an overhand right every now and then. It kind of hypes up the crowd. He's in Abu Dhabi. Could probably get a garbage decision going his way. I'm picking Mo Usman. I don't know why I'm picking Mo Usman. I'm actually kind of regretting picking Mo Usman when I made my predictions videos. But there isn't really anything for me to be excited about to see this fight apart from two big guys that slug and don't know what they're doing when they're in there. Hamza's the better wrestler. He weighs 15 pounds more. For whatever reason, I still think he's going to lose the clinch. The reach could be an issue for him, but it's not like Mo Usman uses his jab effectively enough to keep himself outside of outside of Hamza's range. And I don't know. I'm not seeing much substance between either guy. I think Usman's going to win clinch, land some big shots, defend some takedowns. The more I talk about it, I feel like Hamza's going to win, and my prediction's completely wrong. I'm going to stick Mo Usman on the basis of I got Kamaru Usman wrong last week, and I'm not picking against an Usman, even though I'm picking the worst one right now. No, I honestly, I just think Usman can win some clinches, get some moments. Both guys get some judge favoritism, and I don't know if Mo Usman still has that favoritism, especially with Hamza fighting all the way out now in Abu Dhabi. He's probably going to get his little sprinkle of garbage in the decision, like he did against Jamal Pogues. Yeah, I don't know. Both are bad. I'm picking Mo Usman on vibes, even though, you know, I actually have no reason. I'm picking Mo Usman. I have no reason behind it. That's like the worst prediction I have. There's more substance right now. There's more substance when we get into these other fights. I promise you guys. I don't know why I keep scrolling it down like that. Anyways, Takeru Lambeka versus Azat Maksum. Maksum comes into the UFC, I think 16-0 or something like that, or 15-0. Wins a couple fights. I think split decision against Tyson Nam. One fight or two fights he won. I don't even remember. He had a split against Tyson Nam. I know he lost to Charles Johnson. He dropped him early in that fight, and then he actually just got routed the rest of the rounds. He got routed round 2. He got routed round 3. Charles Johnson was taking him down. Maksum's cardio didn't look that great, to be honest. I don't think Tagir is like some unbelievable cardio threat throughout 3 rounds, but he's a much better overall cardio, in my opinion, than Maksum does. He's a much better overall grappler. I don't really see where Maksum is going to have some success here. I don't know why they have the weight at 137.5 for him. That doesn't make any sense, because for whatever reason, yeah, why do they have 137.5? Charles Johnson fought him at 125. No, I don't think there was that big of a catch weight. Anyways, yeah, Maksum is the worst striker. He's the worst grappler. I think Tagir can take him down just like Charles Johnson is taking him down. I think Tagir can get some good positions here, and I think Tagir is a much better striker. Tagir actually, for the most part, oddly enough, sometimes prefers to strike, and I think he's a much better striker here than Maksum is. Better kicker. Yeah, I think Tagir is going to be just fine in this fight. Keep it at distance. Going to be able to take him down, get the back. Give me Tagir Lambekov 30-27. I'd be surprised if he finishes, to be honest. But yeah, 30-27 Tagir Lambekov is kind of what I'm looking at right now. Claudia Segula versus Irina Alekseeva. Both are horrible. I'm not really too excited to watch either of them fight. Alekseeva is just slightly a little less horrible than Claudia Segula is. I think Alekseeva can get her down. I think you should get elbow her head into the canvas. She's just going to be better on top overall. I'm not sure she makes weight. I'm not sure either. I don't know, man. I don't want to watch this fight. I really hope it ends pretty soon. I think Alekseeva is going to be able to get her down. Can land some big shots on the bottom. I think she's a little bit better on the feet. Segula, I genuinely think, is stationary. I think she's going to get finished in this fight. Give me Alekseeva by finish. She could finish her on the feet. She could probably rock Segula on the feet with a couple overhands. Again, this is really low-level women's MMA. We're not going to see some really nice shot followed off behind a jab, and we're not going to see some insane double leg either. It's going to be some ugly clinch into possibly like a head and arm judo, like a head judo flip, headlock judo flip, something like that. Like, I don't know. No substance in this fight. Apparently, Alekseeva has no reach. That's she's fought a couple times in the UFC as of right now too, so I don't know how that's not updated. But yeah, I think Alekseeva wins by finish. I don't know why Segula's in the UFC. Let's move forward. Melissa Mullins versus Daria Zeleznyakova. We've already seen this fight a couple years ago. I think it was outside of the UFC. Melissa Mullins finished Daria Zeleznyakova. I think Mullins is a better grappler in this fight. I think she could use the grappling if she wants to. I think she's better on the feet. Zeleznyakova can throw some volume on the feet and land a little bit, but I'm not too confident in her ever winning a fight against a lady she lost to 2 years ago, where I haven't seen really many improvements out of Zeleznykova's game, really. I don't think she gets finished in the first round. I do think she can get taken down. I do think she loses the fight for the majority on the feet. I think she loses the clinch in this fight. I think Melissa Mullins is just going to stack another win against Daria Lesniakova. I don't understand this matchmaking. I don't know why the UFC would make a rematch of a fight that happened 2 years ago in which it's a blatant winner in that fight. Blatant round one finish 2 years ago where it's not like Lesniakova went on some like insane run and these two are meeting each other a little bit later down the line. You know what I mean? Like, no. It's just lazy garbage matchmaking, and I'm ranting again. It's a Russian. They're putting in Abu Dhabi. We move forward. Anyways, we got Ismail Nardiev versus Jung Young Park. So much wrong, so much wrong about this matchmaking for whatever. I don't know. I just don't feel good about this fight being made. Like, why? Like, who cares about this fight? Nardiev didn't look great against Bruno Silva. I feel like you can matchmake each of these guys a little bit better, and I'm usually the guy that say if you could say you could do better, give me an alternative, and I didn't come prepared with an alternative, to be honest. I'm being a complete hypocrite right now. Anyways, Nardiev didn't look good against Bruno Silva. He looked pretty lackluster, in my opinion. He could probably take down Jung Young Park. I think Park's actually better in the grappling overall. I think he's a better transition artist in general. Like, I think he's going to be fine. If he gets on bottom, we'll be able to transition and get up a little bit better, especially if he gets his takedowns. I think he can transition to a back take and into better positions to where he can either deal some damage against Nardiev. And I trust his cardio a little bit more in terms of pushing a pace. And if a pace gets pushed on him, I'm fine with Jung Young Park in this. I know a lot of people are on Nardiev. I'm not too confident in winning this fight, although for whatever reason I oddly do have a little bit of a worry in him being able to deal with Park's takedowns and then keep it on the feet and have like a weird striking fight with him. And even if he lands his own takedown, maybe Park just isn't able to get up. But Park is very active anytime he gets taken down, or in general in the fight. He's always putting on a pace, and that's typically the style fight he likes. And I don't like Nardiev's lack of volume to prevent that. I don't like Nardiev's like lack of intensity in his fights and lack of not necessarily determination, but lack of like urgency in his fights to push. And the Bruno Silva fight's probably like melting in my head right now. I watched a couple of his regional scene fights. I'm just not as confident in him to be able to beat a pace like Parks. But again, it's such a weird fight. I really do think like a lot of these fights, like the Alexieva fight, I think she should be Segul. I think she's finisher. But like the Maxim Ulambeko fight, as confident as I am on him, like I still find it a very weird fight and tough one to predict. This one just sucks. I'm not really predicting it on any substance. Oban Elliott versus that's not how they spelled his name. It's Young Ko. Versus Oban Elliott. I think Oban Elliott is just a better striker, the better grappler. I think he's going to be able to finish Hyun Ko. Honestly, this fight wasn't supposed to be made. We saw that Oban Elliott was supposed to be fighting on what card was he supposed to be fighting on? He was a couple weeks ago. Oban Elliott was scheduled to fight somebody. I forgot who exactly. And he's coming off the Basil Hafez win. A couple good wins so far. Obviously the it's like Valentine Woodburn or something like that. I'm completely missing all the tape I watched. I think Oban Elliott's a better grappler and better knockout artist. I don't think Hyun Ko, although his last name is Ko. I do think Oban Elliott's going to be able to move forward. I think he's going to be able to put his pressure that he wants to put on this fight. I think he could have his way with Hyun Ko any way he wants to. Of course, Hyun Ko is going to want to strike here. I do think Elliott can actually strike him a little bit, but if he wants to keep it on the mat, he's going to be able to easily take it down there. And Elliott's going to be able to transition, going to be able to get on top, and I think he's going to find a sub in this fight. He could definitely knock out Hyun Ko, get a ground and pound going, but I do think we're going to see some grappling from Elliott. We're going to see him get on top, and we're going to see him land a bunch on Hyun Ko in this fight. Although sometimes Oban does like to get into a couple interesting striking matches, so maybe you see some here where he's fighting a guy on short notice, a debutant, where he thinks he's probably going to be a lot better. Then maybe Elliott gets caught a little bit. He is a little bit chinny. He can get hit. He is a little bit hittable as well, and I think he's being wildly overrated off of that Basil Hafez win, who himself was being wildly overrated after that JDM performance on short notice, where JDM cut weight, I think, like 2 or 3 times in 2 weeks. So, I give me Oban Elliott here against Hyun Ko by finish, probably by submission. Again, pretty interesting fight, though. I think this is a pretty fun card in terms of, like, very competitive fights overall, and I think they're going to be much more fun fights than we've had in recent fight night events that we've been encountered in. Bogdan Grad versus Muhammad Naimov. Now, Naimov should win this fight. Naimov should be able to win in the clinch. He should be able to take down Grad. He should be able to get in his face, get some pressure early, and obviously Naimov fades a little bit later. Grad can definitely hurt Naimov on the feet, and Naimov is very hittable. He's very, very chinny, in my opinion. I think his chin is not that good whatsoever. I think he's a wildly overrated fighter for the most part throughout his career, and obviously we saw that against Felipe Lima, who came in on short notice and completely fraud-checked Naimov right off the bat. I mean, not off the bat. He lost the first 2 rounds. He was an undersized guy. Lima's a 135er coming in, short notice, 145. beat Naimov, literally was losing the first couple rounds of Naimov, honestly, purely off of size, in my opinion. Comes in round 3, smokes him, subs him, unbelievable performance. But yeah, I think Naimov should be able to win the clinch, should be able to get some takedowns here, prevent Grod from getting his striking going a little bit. I think Grod could definitely hurt him. I do think it's a very possible thing. I think Naimov can hurt Bogdan Grod as well, but I think just he's going to go with the grappling. He's going to get into the clinch. He's going to get... honestly, if it's a close fight, it's probably going to be a Naimov favorable decision again that he doesn't deserve. Like, it's very similar to Hamza Abdul-Wahab with Jamal Pogues, and this is going to be favorable judges for him, in my opinion, here in Baku. So I think Naimov's going to win. I think he's going to win by decision, 29-28. Grod wins the third round, probably hurts Naimov in that third round, and we have some fun in this fight. Nazim Sadikov versus Nicholas Malta. This is the whooping of the night. Where I think Malta is going to be able to do nothing in this fight. Honestly, look, Sadikov's career so far is a little bit overrated, right? I mean, the Evan Elder performance, the Terrence McKinney performance, and what was the most recent one? The Bonfim performance. I mean, I think it was, what was the Bonfim performance? A cut? I think it was a cut on Bonfim. It was a cut on Evan Elder, where Elder won that round. Elder was winning that fight. He was winning that fight 2-0, gets stopped in the third round because of a cut, complete garbage stoppage. Obviously, Ismail Bonfim, it was a good fight, really, really good fight. Between the two, and then Bonfim had to get stopped because of a cut. I think it was a cut, if I'm not wrong. I could be wrong completely. I remember the Evan Elder one was a cut, but I can't remember exactly what the Bonfim one was. But, yeah, and then the Terrence McKinney fight. He cheated to get out of a position against Terrence McKinney. He ended up getting on top, and he finished him. He's had a pretty interesting one. He's not a bad fighter by any means. He has some good pace. He has some decent cardio. He's going to be putting it in your face, pause, and then against Nicholas Malta, like, I think Sadikov can get in Malta's face, pause, and he can definitely hurt Malta. I think Malta is very, very chinny. He's been getting a little bit revitalized as of recently, where he's getting some wins. He's not getting knocked out instantly, but again, his chin's not that great. Sadikov's a much better grappler here. I really do think Sadikov finishes him by whatever he wants. Give me Sadikov by finish. Knockout or to submission, I'm not too certain, honestly. I'm not too certain. He probably will knock out Malta. Sadikov is pretty hittable himself too, but he could probably knock out Malta, but I think Malta could definitely give him something to worry about on the feet, and then he could just go to his grappling, and I think he could sub Malta there. Anyways, Mixing-Bek Orolbai versus a fantastic updated photo of Tafik Musayev coming in, making his UFC debut in his home country of Azerbaijan in Baku. Here's my thing. Tafik Musayev, I think, is fantastic. I think Tafik Musayev is definitely going to be a difficult matchup for Orolbai overall, but him being, 35 years old or so. Is he 35? Did they put the ages here? I feel like that's something we should put on here. I think I did that last time where I was looking for the ages. They didn't put it on there. Anyways, Tafik Musayev is a fantastic striker. Some pretty good takedown defense. Some pretty explosive movements out of him. He's a very fun knockout artist. Orolbai is a complete brickhead. The guy doesn't get knocked out. The guy can take whatever it is. I mean, we watched his Mataus Rebecki fight. He could take bombs. I mean, quite literally, he could take big shot after big shot, and he's perfectly fine with walking forward and trying to take you down relentlessly after that. Bigger reach, just a little bit taller. He's going to be relentless on Tafik Musayev. And my concern with Musayev is, if this was him not on a 2-year layoff at 35 years old, 100% I'd probably be picking him. I think it's going to be a pretty competitive fight at that point. I think Orolbai is way too hittable. I think Orolbai gets smoked a little bit too often with big moments, and that's why Rebecki beat him, even though he has a grappling advantage and he can definitely push the pace on you. I don't think he has some, I don't know. I think Orolbai's going to be able to push the pace here on Musayev, who hasn't fought in 2 years, who's getting towards the latter end of his career at 34, 35 years old. I feel like he's taking this UFC debut all of a sudden because it's in his home country. I feel like if they never went to Baku, he wouldn't be fighting in the UFC. So how confident are you in this guy to come in, right? I don't know. I feel like it's a tough style for him to walk into against Orolbai. I think Orolbai's going to win by decision here, but it's going to be a fun fight. I think Musayev will land some stuff on Orolbai because, again, Orolbai is very hittable, but at the end of the day, a pace is going to be pushed. Musayev's going to have his back against the cage. Orolbai's going to get him down plenty, and I think Musayev's going to have to deal with that. Maybe Orolbai's chin is completely smoked now after what Rebecki did to him. I'm not going to say I'd be shocked, but I haven't seen it yet. I do think Orolbai's going to win here by decision, but a really good fight nonetheless. Rizvan Kaniev versus Curtis Blades. I need to preface this with, I know Rizvan Kaniev sucks. I know he's not good. I watch his Contender Series fight. I watch the regional scene. Trust me, I know he's not good. He matches Blades in size. A little bit heavier than Blades. Obviously not just based on this weight, but if you go look at them face to face, once they get there, trust me, Kaniev's a little bit bigger than him. The reach advantage is whatever. Blades does use his jab every now and then, and it's not anything horrible. I actually think he's one of the more established jabs at heavyweight, especially considering he's not a striker. But I don't think Blades is going to be able to wrestle Kaniev. I know Kaniev is slow. I know he doesn't necessarily have anything of substance in his striking game other than he has really, really good power. I don't think Blades... Oh my god, bro. I don't think Blades is going to be able to wrestle. I don't think Blades is going to be able to take him down. And if he does, even if he tries to, I mean, we watched him against Sergey Pavlovich. Very easy option for him to wrestle in that fight. I mean, why would you want to strike against Pavlovich when he was knocking everybody out? Then Curtis Blades didn't. Ended up shooting when he got hurt, and then he got knocked out by Pavlovich. Again, Kaniev is not Pavlovich. He is not the knockout artist Pavlovich is. He's not have the boxing that Pavlovich does, right? My thing with Kaniev is I think he could stop the takedowns of Blades. I think he can give Blades a reason not to take him down. And Blades has been hit by some pretty telegraphed shots. That uppercut that Derek Lewis hit him with when Blades entered for a takedown, that was as telegraphed of an uppercut as I've seen. I mean, Lewis literally showed the uppercut as heavily as he could. Blades ran right into it. I think Kaniev is going to be able to take him, not take him down. I mean, honestly, Kaniev could wrestle himself, but I'd be surprised if he goes that route. I think this is going to end up being on the feet. I think Blades will land the better volume. I think Blades has the better jab, and he will land the better jabs, better two shots a little bit. But Kaniev hits like a truck, and it's Curtis Blades on the feet. I'm not confident with Curtis Blades standing on the feet against a guy who hits harder than him, that's probably a little bit bigger than him. I'm not confident in that. I'm picking Kaniev in this fight. I'm really concerned with Blades in a fight if he's not wrestling. If he does end up getting Kaniev down, I think that's the round. I don't think Kaniev gets back up often. I think Kaniev's going to be flat on his back. I think Blades is going to be able to dominate that round if he gets him down. I don't see Blades taking him down. I don't see Blades constantly going for that as well. I think Kaniev is going to hurt him, and I think Blades is going to go down. I think it's going to be a pretty... Like, it's not a deserved fight. He doesn't deserve to be here, but he's going to beat Curtis Blades. Like, you know, it sucks. I'm getting a lot of hate for it, to be fair, though. I know a lot of people are saying, like, Curtis Blades has fought the better level competition. I know that. Curtis Blades has done better against better level competition. I know that. Kaniev sucks. I know that. But Curtis Blades lost to Derek Lewis. Yes, he's a knockout king. Derek Lewis does not have substance in his striking either. He just has gigantic power. And he stopped Blades from taking him down. That's the same style of fight that we're getting here. We're getting, if anything, Kaniev's a better wrestler than Derek Lewis is, both offensively and defensively. I'm concerned. I'm concerned with Curtis Blades' ability to deal with the striking of a guy who hits a lot harder than him, that he's not taking down relentlessly. I'm going to take Kaniev in this fight by knockout, round 1, round 2. More than likely round 1. Ignacio Bahamondes versus Rafael Fiziev, co-main event between the two. I want nothing more than Rafael Fiziev to win this fight. I want nothing more than to be wrong. Look at the height disadvantage in this fight. It is 5'8" to 6'3". I know Ludovic Klein is around the same height of Rafael Fiziev, either 5'9" or 5'7", if I'm not wrong. I could be completely wrong on both of those. And Ludovic Klein came in, I think, on short notice and beat Ignacio Bahamondes. So that was 2 years ago, and I think Bahamondes has definitely improved since then. When you have a guy that young fighting another good striker, which, by the way, Ludovic Klein at range is a better fighter at range than Fiziev is. Fiziev's much better on the inside. Fiziev has, in my opinion, the best Muay Thai in the UFC. I don't think anybody in the UFC has better Muay Thai than Rafael Fiziev. I think he's a coach, or the coach, one of the two, at Tiger Muay Thai, which is the biggest Muay Thai camp in the world, and the most notorious one at that. Coming off of 3 straight losses, Gaethje, and then an injury against Mateusz Gamrot, and then Gaethje again on short notice in his return from that injury, where he won round 1 against Gaethje in both fights. Round 2 was arguable for Fiziev in the first fight, and then round 3, obviously Gaethje in the third fight, where in the third round of the first fight, Gaethje won. Gaethje clearly won rounds 2 and 3 of round 3 was close in the second fight as well. Fiziev has been able to compete with Gaethje. I don't think Gaethje's that good of a substance striker, to be honest. I think he's just very difficult to deal with, and he was a lot bigger than Fiziev. And again, that's where it brings down to. The size of Fiziev is my concern. Interestingly enough, the reach isn't gigantic as big of a discrepancy as I thought it would be. But I think Bahamondes is going to be able to keep his distance. I think Bahamondes' kicks are going to be an issue for Fiziev, just at distance. The teeps, the front kicks, just the showing of the knee. It's going to be hard for Fiziev to enter, although that's his thing. He likes to enter. He knows how to explode into it. And I think he's a much better fighter. I think he's a much better striker. I'm also concerned with him gassing in these fights. I've seen him go 5 rounds against RDA, and honestly, he lost 2 of those rounds. So he lost 2 rounds, 2-2 going into round 5 against RDA, and he knocked him out in round 5. Same thing against Brad Riddell. Round 3, where he usually gasses, that we usually see him gas, He knocked out Brad Riddell with an insane kick. I don't know. I think Fiziev is a lot better than Bahamondes is. I'm picking Bahamondes in the fight because I think the difficulty of Fiziev at lightweight is the size, is the height disadvantage, is the reach disadvantage, is his difficulty with finding these guys. And the thing is, even with all that, he's landing gigantic shot after gigantic shot. I'm probably horribly wrong on this. I think Fiziev is a lot better than Bahamondes is. I think Fiziev is a much better striker. I think he can even wrestle in this fight if he wants to. I think Bahamondes' grappling is wildly overrated now because of a triangle that he put Jalen Turner in which Jalen Turner literally put himself into, that he admittedly put himself into. You could watch Jalen Turner in that triangle that Bahamondes put him in. Jalen Turner had two arms out, two arms in. I think he had one in, one out, defended the position, knew he could have gotten out of it, and he kept himself in. And he shoved himself into the triangle. He gave up. That's not what Fiziev is going to do here. I think Fiziev is going to hurt Bahamondes, especially in his hometown. I'd be surprised if he gasses. I think his cardio is not as bad. I'm still of the belief that Fiziev's cardio is not as bad as we're making it out to be. I just think he's going to have a hard time entering on Bahamondes. I think he'll get hit with a couple of shots against Bahamondes where Bahamondes is going to be able to land on the outside, able to use his kicks, threaten the kicks up the middle, which is going to deter Fiziev a good amount. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I mean, Fiziev's pretty willing to go on the inside regardless of what he's facing. So, yeah. I also didn't like his entries on short notice against Gaethje, although that is short notice. Like, a lot of the times, he'd partially get into the clinch and not really do anything, and it left him open for an uppercut against Gaethje, which that's literally Gaethje's shot. It was a very awkward entrance from Fiziev every time he would get in there, and I was very confused watching because I haven't seen him do that throughout his career. What's also a concern is his wins in the UFC. Thing is, like, okay, the Brad Riddell win, the Moicano win, stuff like that, like, he got jumped into the Gaethje fight pretty quickly after the Riddell. I think it was the Riddell win was the last fight before the Gaethje win, if I'm not wrong. Or no, the RDA one. The RDA one was. And the RDA win, I mean, it's not aging the greatest either. I mean, he made a competitive fight against RDA where it was... Yeah, I just think 155 is not his weight class. I think he has so much muscle, and I think he's 5'8". I think he could definitely make 145 and have it not be a horrible cut. He's made 145 before. I think it's definitely his weight class down there. He could win this fight. I'm not picking him. I'm too wary with the distance. I'm too wary with the distance management of Bahamondes and him getting better overall. I want Fiziev to win. I'm rooting for Fiziev. I think Bahamondes is going to win at distance, 29-28, something like that. Maybe drops the first round of Fiziev. Yeah, but the thing is, typically when Bahamondes drops the first round, not really looking too good. He's not really as confident after he loses the first. I don't know. I'm gonna pick Bahamondes. I think I like him better at distance. Very tough fight to predict. Jamal Hill versus Khalil Rountree. I am rooting for Fiziev though. I have to keep mentioning that because he is my boy. I freaking love him. He's one of my favorite fighters to watch. He's also boys with Peter Yan. You know what I mean? Can I really hate him? Anyways, Khalil Rountree versus Jamal Hill. Main event right here of UFC Baku. Another reason why the UFC doesn't need to put on a Mexican main event for UFC Mexico, because they're not putting on an Azerbaijan main event for UFC Baku. Fiziev is literally the co-main event here. Tafik Masayev is on the main card. He's not main eventing. I'm just saying. Yair Rodriguez does not need a title shot. Anyway, Jamal Hill versus Khalil Rountree right now. I have Hill. Hill's bigger. You don't really get to have Hill bigger in a fight. He has the longer reach here. I don't know if he's had the longer reach against Yuri Prochazka and against Alex Pereira. Certainly not Alex Pereira. If anything, I should have done that research before I got into this. But let me go check Alex Pereira's reach. I want to check Yuri Prochazka's reach. Because I do think that's a big issue with Jamal Hill, especially coming off of that torn Achilles, where that's a big part of his struggles. A big part of his struggles with that. Yeah, Alex Pereira has an inch longer in reach than Jamal Hill. And let's go check Yuri Prochazka. Yuri Prochazka, same thing. So Jamal Hill submitted a reach advantage and I think a height advantage. I don't think he's shorter than Yuri. He's like at the same height about as Yuri Prochazka. Same thing. I think Alex Pereira is actually a lot bigger than what's it called? Yeah, he's about the same height as Jamal Hill as well. He's now got the height advantage. He's now got the reach advantage. I think he's a better boxer. I think. And I know a lot of people are going to lose their minds at better boxer. I think he's a better inside with the boxing. Giving me the boxer that, in my opinion, hits harder than Jamal Hill. He's a UFC champion. I rate his win over Glover Teixeira much more than I rate any single Khalil Rountree win. Again, too, the Justin Jacoby split decision. Was it split decision? It was a close fight against Justin Jacoby. What was it? The Anthony Smith knockout. I mean, what substance win does Khalil Rountree have as of right now? Carl Roberson, really? I mean, look, he looked fantastic against Alex Pereira, and that's where his basis is now lying, right? He had looked unbelievable against Pereira. I think that's on the basis of Pereira's not that good on the inside against somebody who could strike down the middle, and even use the pressure and beat him in the middle with there. Where Rountree was able to hit Pereira quite often in that fight, and they ended up getting finished. I think Jamal Hill's performance against Yuri Prochazka is getting wildly underrated. He was landing big on Yuri Prochazka. He won round 2 against Yuri Prochazka. Yes, he got dropped in round 1, but that was a competitive round apart from him getting dropped there. Yes, he got knocked out in round 3. It was pretty competitive until then. I know, again, he got smoked. I get it, but you need to understand the guy can still land. The guy's shots are fantastic on a guy who's much more difficult to track down than Yuri Prochazka. And, of course, first fight off of the torn Achilles against Alex Pereira, not the easiest of matchups right now. And that's where a lot of people are also bringing this discrepancy between the two. Is like the St. Khalil Rountree is a much better overall performance against Alex Pereira than Jamal Hill. That's 100% right, but styles make fights. Jamal Hill is going to be moving forward. He's going to be the bigger guy in this fight. He's going to be able to get in the pocket against Khalil Rountree, where Khalil Rountree's head is in a center line and it's very linear. My concern with Jamal Hill is the left hook of Khalil Rountree. The problem is he's very wide open, drops his right hand very often in these fights, and that's where he can get caught pretty often. I'm pretty sure Rountree actually can land a couple of those left hooks. Whether or not Hill can take that damage anymore, I don't know. He used to be an unbelievable chin, and all of a sudden he's getting cracked and dropped big time, and Rountree hits like a truck. I think Hill's going to be able to land on Rountree. I think Rountree's not going to be able to take the damage that he was able to against Pereira. Taking that much damage at the latter end of your career, maybe the most damage he's taken in God knows how long. The guy got knocked out by Johnny Walker. I think Jamal Hill can definitely knock him out. I think Jamal Hill is going to be fine here on the inside. It's going to be an unbelievable fight. Rountree's kicks are also something I'm concerned about. Those are the two shots I'm really worried about for Jamal Hill. The kicks to the legs, because he is flat-footed when he fights, and he puts a lot of emphasis into his shots, so he keeps his feet flat. And then, as for Khalil Rountree, the kicks are going to be fantastic. The oblique kick is going to be right there. The leg kicks are going to be right there. And then the left hook. Obviously, a lot of the times Jamal Hill drops his right hand down. Then Khalil Rountree is going to be able to land that left hook pretty often, and that's a very favorable shot for him that he does like a lot. So definitely looking out for that. But apart from that, I think Rountree's head is on a center line. I don't really think he moves it too often. I think when he strikes especially, he leaves himself open for stuff that Hill likes to throw, like the uppercut, like the two down the middle. Hill actually has a pretty decent jab, in my opinion. I think his jab's going to be a little bit better in this fight. Reach advantage and height advantage for Hill is going to make this fight a lot easier for him than the most recent fights that he's had. I think he's going to like finding his range a lot more in this fight than he was able to in those other ones. I think he's going to be able to land on Rountree a lot more than he even landed on Yuri, which Yuri's hard to track. Yuri's difficult to track, especially for a guy like Jamal Hill, where he hasn't really fought anybody that difficult to track with Yuri Prochazka, with that kind of movement, with that kind of spacing between them a lot of the time. And Yuri gives people headaches when it comes to trying to land on him. Although, the thing is, yes, obviously Yuri does take a lot of shots. I don't see Rountree landing as often on Yuri as Jamal Hill was. You need a more boxing style fight. That kickboxing style, unless you're going to be a guy as big as Alex Pereira landing like that. I think Jamal Hill fantastically has a really good boxing style that can move forward, where he's the bigger guy with a better reach, and he's going to give Rountree issues with that. And anytime Rountree's going to be entering in with those kicks, I think Hill's going to be able to counter him. I'm picking Jamal Hill in this fight. I think he's being wildly disrespected by people because of him getting knocked out by Yuri, and mainly, honestly, because people don't like Jamal Hill. And people love Khalil Rountree after him showing a lot of dog against Alex Pereira. Give me Jamal Hill, I think, by knockout. I think the winner of this fight, no matter what's going to win by knockout, I think Jamal Hill's going to knock out Khalil Rountree round 1, round 2. And it's going to be a big revitalizing of his career, his confidence, and you're going to have a lot more fun fights for Jamal Hill going forward because of how entertaining, not entertaining necessarily, well, entertaining is going to be. This fight's going to be unbelievable, but because of how fun this fight's going to be, because of how big it's going to be, because it's going to be in front of an Azerbaijan crowd the UFC's never been to, and Jamal Hill's going to get a win back in the win column, and a big win against a guy who just challenged for the title in Khalil Rountree. That's the full card predictions. I'm really not that confident in a lot of these. I've never said I'm not confident on my predictions. And genuinely, it's not just because last week I got smoked. Don't get me wrong. Last week was a tragic card, but that's not the basis of it. I'm hitting around 70% of my predictions. On the year, I'm 14-5 on main events. That's like 73.7% correct. For whatever reason, this card gives me eerie vibes on like a lot of weird stuff happening, and good fights at that, but just difficult predictions overall. I think it'll be fun. I hope you guys enjoy the card. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I feel like this is like one of my worst ones. It is what it is, though. I will see you guys. What do I see you guys? Tomorrow. I'm going to be posting every single day. Appreciate you guys. Subscribe to my YouTube. Follow my TikTok at MMA_DBM. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.